Over the next 8 days, I'll be surviving by myself in 4 of Australia's most extreme and unforgiving climates. I'll be catching my own food, building shelters from scratch, sourcing water, and living side by side with some of the most venomous and dangerous creatures on this planet. Now, how this challenge is going to work is I'll spend 2 days in each environment before moving on to the next. But here's the twist. We're starting off easy. First stop is the Australian rainforest, a place that I've survived in countless times before. However, as this challenge unfolds, each new location will become progressively harsher and more difficult to survive in. And by the end of this challenge, I'll be facing conditions that very few ever dare to endure. Let's get into it. So, we're currently trying to get as deep into the rainforest as we can. All right, so what have I bought to help me survive for the next 2 days out here? Not too many things. So we've got a hand reel. We're gonna be building a primitive shrimp trap to try and catch some bait and dinner for tonight. I've done it before in systems like this, so I'm pretty confident that tomorrow we're gonna be using some shrimp to try and catch something bigger further up this creek in a deeper pool. I've bought a little bit of rope out with me as well. Because there's so many snakes and wild dogs that live here, we're gonna be building a shelter that's actually off the ground. We've got a snorkeling set, and tonight we're going to be going night snorkeling in this creek after dark to see what creatures are living in it. And yeah, the last thing that we bought to this rainforest for the next couple days is a big knife for not only building the shelter but for protection as well. And this has a flint attached to it so we can make fires. Now we've also got one more thing that I've brought out here with me. We're going to go set it up right now. So throughout this survival challenge, I'm going to be bringing these trail cameras with me, setting them up in each different location and seeing what creatures are living with me in the areas that I'm surviving in. No way! Look at all those fish there. They're spangled perch. Let's come back here later on and try to catch some of them for dinner. So the reason why I chose this rainforest to survive in for the next 2 days is because it's the most densely populated rainforest with animals that I've ever found. Deadly animals too. I can almost guarantee that at this time of year, as it's starting to warm up here in this forest, we're gonna find some creatures that could kill me if I'm bitten or attacked out here. And this place up here is not a bad spot to try and find the first one. The Australian rainforest can be home to some of the world's deadliest animals. Saltwater crocodiles, the largest species of crocodile on Earth, live in the rainforests of northern Australia. The largest crocodile that has ever been recorded measured over 20 feet long and was blamed for eating several humans from a small village in the Philippines. Not a creature that you want to be in the water with, that's for sure. We do not want to get bitten by this big girl out here. Just grab a stick and try get her. Take a look at this. So just on the edge of this stick right here is one of the most venomous spiders in this country, and a species that if I was bitten out here would not only end my time in the rainforest, but say goodbye to the rest of this 8-day challenge. This is a big female redback spider, a species which has caused fatalities in this country. And there's another one sitting on the rock right above my head. This one's bigger. Now the really cool thing about these female redback spiders is how they hunt. Now they'll actually attach several strands going from these rock walls down to the floor, because a lot of the time they're building their webs pretty close to the ground, and they'll wait for creatures like insects, lizards, sometimes even animals as big as snakes to trigger one of those tripwires that are on the floor. They'll rush down, pump it full of venom, and it's a neurotoxic venom. It attacks the nervous system and it affects us big time. So imagine what it would do to a creature as big as a lizard. Completely overwhelms the nervous system, and this big female will eat it. Pretty crazy. Well, we're gonna camp far away from this wall right here. I think it's about the time of day where I need to start finding materials and building a shelter away from the spiders, away from the venomous snakes and the wild dogs that are living here with me. This tree right here, this rock, and this tree we're gonna use to actually support the outside of this shelter. Tie up some big sticks to each of them and start building a platform. Last time I did a video like this out in the rainforest, I was sleeping on the floor and had a bit of an unwelcome visitor come through camp late at night, so you want to avoid that. Start building. These outside beams are the most important. We don't want them going anywhere. See how long this one is? So if it goes there, let's chop it right here. All right. Looks good. We'll tie the second one up. Now we're gonna start building the platform to sleep on tonight. The cool thing about this shelter in particular is I'm not using any trees. I'm only using resources that have already fallen on the floor, which makes it a little bit more dangerous because I don't want to fall through at night. We're just seeing how long these sticks are, see where we can put them. That one's pretty long. Looking good. It's hot out here. You can see the shelters starting to take place. The thing about the first few days and the first few locations during this challenge is I don't want to be surviving. I want to be feeling good leaving this place in a couple of days' time. So good sleep, lots of food, and not using too much energy is the goal for this part of the challenge. I've got a feeling it's going to be dire by the end of it. Doesn't look too comfy at the moment. Let's chuck some bedding on. The other good thing about this shelter in particular is it's easy to make. Don't use too much energy. Spent the past half an hour collecting resources and it's taken me about 20 minutes to build it. Now I'm safe from wild dogs, most species of snakes, and hopefully the redback spiders as well. If I grab my backpack, we can use it as a pillow. Looks pretty cool. Let's throw this up here. The moment of truth. Feels pretty sturdy. I think ideally I'll be wanting to sleep this way. So shelter for the next 2 days is done. If it starts raining out here, I can take cover underneath. I'm gonna go wash off and drink some water out of the creek. The only other thing that we need to do now is catch food. Hopefully tomorrow with the hand reel, if we head to a deeper section of this creek, we might be able to catch an Australian bass to cook up on a fire here at camp. Believe it or not, out of the top 10 most venomous snakes on Earth, 9 of them live right here in Australia, several of which are living in this rainforest with me. And an untreated bite from any of these snakes is a death sentence, especially in a rainforest like this. You know, when I said that this rainforest is the most densely populated rainforest with animals that I've ever found, I wasn't lying. And most of the species are nocturnal. So we found this pink-tongued lizard in the first couple minutes of searching. This is actually the same cliff that we found the redback spider on earlier today. And this is a big fella, got a big head on him. But I got a feeling that later on tonight, we're gonna find a lot more deadly species. Don't have to worry about this guy crawling through camp later on. Take a look at this big fella right here. Big brown tree snake, Boiga irregularis. The first venomous species of snake that we found out here in the rainforest so far. An arboreal species, as you can see, he's headed straight up to the top of this tree. And what he'd be doing out here tonight is no doubt hunting, and hunting things like sleeping birds, potentially even bats in caves around here. Gorgeous snake though. They're a rear-fanged species of snake, so even if he was to bite me all the way out here in this rainforest, not only is he mildly venomous, and I'd probably be okay, but in order to envenomate me, he'd really have to chew those fangs in. See what other creatures we can find. And there she goes, up into this rock wall. Such a beautifully colored snake. You can tell that this little girl has just shed, and yet another type of snake that we found tonight on this night walk. These guys, non-venomous, although they can get massive. I found snakes out here on my adventures in rainforests just like these in this area that are over 3 meters long. It'd be so cool to track one down that big tonight. Let's keep going. Alright, it's the morning of day 2. We had a relatively good sleep last night. I've just been chilling here on the shelter, trying to conserve as much energy as we can. The only complaint is because I didn't have a fire, there were so many flies and mozzies biting me as I was trying to fall asleep. Looking off the end, we're pretty high up off the ground, but I mean, waking up and having this beautiful view overlooking this creek system is pretty special. And this creek system is what I'm going to focus on today. I've built a shelter, collected water. All we need to do now is catch some food out of this creek and cook it up on a fire. And I've got a pretty interesting way of how I'm going to go about it. Let's head down to the creek. Beautiful creek. Oh. It is so hot out here, sweating already. Big dog print, a little bee. So I'm walking up this creek, and what I'm noticing is that there's a lot of freshwater shrimp sitting in these shallower sections. These are big shrimp too. Not only could we potentially eat them, but we could use them as bait to catch something even bigger. Got him, that's what we're looking for. But if we want to have a good chance at catching a few different fish to cook up today, we need a lot of these shrimp. So I'm going to quickly build a primitive fish and shrimp trap and see if we can get a few. And the final steps to fill in all of the gaps with little rocks and sand. So pretty much an idea for a trap like this is you put bait in the middle of it. The shrimp from around this area that are hiding under the rocks and leaf litter will smell that bait, enter the entrance over there, and I've got a big rock ready to seal the entrance up once there's a lot of shrimp in there. I'm gonna put some little worms and grubs in there, leave it for about half an hour, come back and check if we've got any shrimp. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go around and try and catch some with my hands. So if we just seal it up with this rock and we can grab him. There we go. That's a perfect bait for this creek. I'll move this back. It's literally been 10 minutes. Saw a big one in here. Where did he go? Look at that. Look at the size of his claws. There we go. They do hurt when they get to this size, that's for sure. And this is the pool that we're gonna be fishing in for the next couple of hours. We've got to catch ourselves some food, and I can already see a bunch of fish down in this pool already. Look at them cruising over there. There's spangled perch. That's an edible species of fish. But seeing as we have a fair bit of bait, we're gonna try catch something really big. I've got a feeling there's some bigger fish sitting at the bottom of this deep pool. All right, we've got one hook. So if we get snapped off by one of the big fish that are living in this pool, I'm gonna have to try and catch food another way. Now we wait. There we go. Got one. First little spangled perch. And look at all the rest chasing him. So here's the thing. There's no legal size for these spangled perch, but I think I'm gonna wait to see if I can catch something even bigger. Here we go. Yeah, we're onto a fish here. Oh, big catfish. Oh, this thing is huge. I knew that there was bigger fish living down here in this pool. Oh, he's getting attacked by the eel. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. There is a huge eel attacking the catfish. It's biting the catfish. It's biting the catfish. No way. Look at this. All right, mate. Let's get you away from that eel. That was crazy. That mark on this catfish's tail, over the other side as well, you can see where that eel just latched onto him. And that was a big eel. He was about 1 meter long. I knew that there was river monsters that were living in here, but I didn't think there was anything that big. Thing is, I don't want to be eating a catfish. First off, I don't think I'd be able to eat a meal this big. So we're gonna let this catty go, keep fishing and see if we can catch some more big fish. But knowing that that eel is living in this pool so close to camp, what I think I'm gonna do is come down here later on tonight, go night snorkeling with my underwater torch and try find him. Let's get this catty back in the water. Yep, there we go. We're onto another fish here. That feels bigger than a spangled perch. Oh, it's a monster perch. Look at that. Yeah, look at the size of that fish. That's one of the biggest perch I've ever caught. Let's grab him. He's gonna taste real good cooked up on the coals. So that is a spangled perch. Really good looking fish. Rarely get to this size in these creeks, but it's nice to see that there's a few big healthy ones in here. I knew that there'd be some bigger fish sitting at the bottom of this deep pool. It'd be great if we could get one more this size. I just accidentally dropped it back in the water. No. All right, big bait for a big fish. Can't believe it got away. That's all right. I reckon we'll be able to get another one. We really need a fish right now. Come on. All right, we're on again. Oh, yes, another massive perch. That thing is huge. Take a look at that. Not letting this one get away. Let's make a fire and cook them up. Oh, look at this. Just in there, although it looks like a snake, that's actually a legless lizard. Here, let me put it back down. Take a look at that. The Burton's legless lizard. I feel like a lot of people watching this video, if they found this in the wild, they would think it's a snake. They're the exact same color as the second most venomous snake in the world, the eastern brown, which does live in this forest as well. What's crazy is watching this lizard move across the floor right now. It's funny even calling it a lizard because it moves nothing like one. But what's giving it away is the remnants of this creature evolving over time. Look at him licking his tongue right there. They still have microscopic legs on the sides of their body that eventually, down the line, will disappear. Let's keep collecting firewood and cook up this fish. All right. Come on. Here we go. First fire in the rainforest. Actually, such a cool little setup on the side of this hill right here. Feels safe to camp in tonight. Might even keep the fire going later on. Let's fillet this fish. I think we've done pretty well in this rainforest over the past couple days. Caught ourselves a feed, built a nice shelter. I'm still feeling pretty high on energy. Tomorrow morning we leave this place and head to somewhere even crazier. Looks good. Let's eat it. 48 hours in the rainforest. It's gonna be complete tomorrow morning. Once I hike out of here, I'm getting straight into my car and we're headed down to the second location where I'm gonna be surviving for another 48 hours. So this creek, there's a few species that you can eat in here. Now, although the next location is going to be a lot harder to survive than this, in this creek and rainforest, there's only a few things that you can eat, most of which don't taste too good. The creatures we're going to be finding and cooking up in location 2, some of the best eating species here in Australia. Alright, so we just got out of this pool behind us that we were fishing in earlier today, and there's so much going on in there, and I was hoping that eel would be in one of the shallower areas, but after searching around that little cave down there, I knew that he had to be in this pool behind us. So I dived down and ended up coming face to face with this monster. I'm getting bitten by so many shrimp. You should see the amount of shrimp trying to bite me on my feet right now. We're gonna head back to camp and call it a night. Dry off by the fire. Tomorrow morning, you're gonna see the second location for this challenge. And you know what? I'm not even nervous anymore, but I'm excited because I've survived in this area so many times. I'm confident that we're gonna find lots of things that I can eat, along with a few really deadly animals, deadlier than any we found here in the rainforest. You can kind of see it's full moon tonight, and if you listen, the forest is going off. Just sitting on the shelter, gonna get an early night's sleep, and tomorrow we leave this place. Alright, first part of the mangrove survival. Okay, so for part 2 of this challenge, we've just made it down to the second environment that we're going to be surviving in for the next 48 hours. This right here is the shark pools. Now, although this mangrove system, as we head further out, is not as harsh as the other environments to survive in that are going to be in this video, it could be more dangerous because, as you might be able to hear from the name of this place, this creek is a shark nursery, and it's filled with one of the most fearsome species of sharks, and seriously an animal that can kill me. If I was to get bitten by one of the sharks in this creek, and we're going to encounter dozens of sharks today, it's very easy to bleed out, especially in a place as remote as this. We're not going to be trying to catch bull sharks with this bow, but we're hopefully going to be able to try and catch a fish or something that we can cook up, because we want enough energy to survive the following 2 environments of this challenge. Let's jump in the kayak, get out there and see if we can find some bull sharks. Cruising through the shark pools. Now, because it's full moon, the tide is so high at the moment, meaning there's probably a few bigger sharks that have ventured all the way up this far. And I also know what you're thinking. How many knives does this guy need? This one by Cressy is for filleting up fish, and this one is for protection. Sun's meant to come out soon. It'll make it a lot easier for us to spot some sharks. The largest bull shark that has ever been recorded was caught in South Africa and measured over 13 feet long. But what's insane is there are stories of people sighting bull sharks even larger than this off the coastline of Australia. Let's hope there's not one that big in this creek. Big mullet. Oh, that's what I was going for. I want to see if this attracts a shark. There's heaps of sharks in this little pool right here. Look at that. Look at that, that's a decent sized shark over there. You see him swimming on the surface? This would have to be one of the coolest systems that I've ever found in my life. Filled with apex predators, juvenile bull sharks, and lots of big mullet. Look at that. What I think I'm gonna do is find a nice corner to set up on, where I'm on the bank, on level ground, and can have a better chance at actually bow fishing one of these mullet. Oh, that's a decent one. Are you kidding me? He's still here. Another one just out here. Oh, look at that. These things are actually everywhere. There's actually a bunch of logs that block off any animals from leaving this place. They could still probably get out, but it makes it very difficult to do so. And what I've seen is several sharks, big schools of mullet, even mangrove jack busting up, all in this one little closed off pool right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up, see if we can spot some sharks and hopefully catch something with the bow. We'll hook this here and climb up on this log. Got him! I got him! There he is right there. Let's put another shot in him. Second arrow. No! No! Ah! That is so disappointing. I'm gonna keep an eye on him, see if he comes back up. Don't wanna leave a fish like that. There he is right there. Yes. Yes. How good is that? And that's gonna be my lunch. How you wanna actually kill these mullet is just like this. And now he's dead. That is a good sized mullet. Wow, thank you so much, mate. Because the tide's so high, this bank that I usually stand on is underwater, but it's the perfect time to go fishing. So what I'm gonna do is tie myself up, but I'm actually gonna be standing in the water with these sharks, which might get a little dicey. Look at this. Right out in front. Well, I'm glad that I didn't stand out in the shallows there. That could have been bad. Here we go. Oh! Yeah, we're on. Oh! That feels decent. What is this? Oh! It's a shark! No way! Oh, he's literally towing my kayak downstream at the moment. How big is he? I just got that. Oh, look at that. Wow, that's a chunky little shark. He has been feeding well up here. Well, not what we were trying to catch, but it's a bit hard fishing in a creek with so many of them. I want to get a better look at him. Oh. Towing me around in circles. I was hoping to catch a big catty. But the reason why we're using these circle hooks is so that if we do hook a shark, we can get him out and release him real quick. What a beautiful little shark. Hey mate, you're actually a really healthy shark. Let's get him on the bank and get him back in there. All right, you're okay, buddy, you're okay. All right. And would you have a go at this? A little juvenile bull shark. Now for this creek system, this is actually not a bad sized animal. And we're fishing for catfish, but sadly in a creek with this many sharks, even though I need to catch food, there is the possibility that we're gonna hook one. But I think it's really cool to get him up close to the camera before we send him off and show you how amazing these creatures are. This area that we're in right now is what's known as a shark nursery. And I'm actually pretty nervous being in the water. I'm over waist deep on the edge of this deeper system. As soon as we pulled up here, we saw a shark. You know, just before we get him back in there, he's ready to go. Look at that. A jungle bull shark. That is seriously so cool. And what's even cooler is a shark of this size, you know, he's probably around 90 centimeters to a meter long, could one day grow to over 3 meters. If this is a big female, one day she could be out in the ocean, you know, hunting really big prey, potentially even people. All right, see you go. Off she goes. Yes! Let's make a fire and cook up this mullet. It's gonna be hard to make a fire in this weather. Good sized mullet, really good size. We're gonna use some of it as bait for tomorrow, but what we'll do now is take the guts out. Yuck. You can see why he pulled up so quickly. Shot him right through the backbone. Look at that little shark just over there. So I've tried to film most of them, but I think I've counted 30 sharks just today since we've been out here. Right, it's night number 1 out here at the shark pools. It's crazy to think that where I'm gonna be sleeping tonight, there's gonna be sharks swimming within a few meters of my body. Now, because the tide's so high, the normal place that I sleep on, this little sandy bank, I think it's gonna go underwater later on. So we've kind of moved a little bit up into the rainforest. Been out kayaking in this creek before at nighttime, and there are so many sharks here. And I'm tempted to go out tonight, but I think we're gonna chill, conserve our energy, and as soon as we wake up tomorrow morning, we're gonna get out in the kayak and start fishing. Try and catch some breakfast on the fishing rod. Have a go at this big goanna track. He must have actually crossed this little section of creek. You can see his tail drag and big claw prints on the outside. He's come all the way up this way, moved up here. We're gonna jump in the kayak, head out, and see if we can find some sharks early this morning. All right, first roadblock, but beyond this point, there are a lot of bull sharks. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's one in this little pool right here. So let's try not to fall off. Get this ready to go. So we're currently waiting for this rod to go off again. The species that we could catch in this creek, mangrove jack, forktail catfish, trevally, especially with the bait that I'm using, mullet, everything eats it in here, which is a blessing and a curse because the sharks eat it as well. But the reason I'm using these circle hooks is so that if we were to catch a shark or even a mangrove jack or a catfish and we wanted to let it go, those circle hooks will hook them in the corner of the mouth, so it's much easier to get the hooks out and get them back in the water safely. Sharks swimming everywhere though. Feel like it's only a matter of time before something takes this bait again. Yep, there we go. What is this? It's running right back towards the kayak. Oh! Oh! Little shark. No way. Well, obviously, we're fishing for something that we can eat, and this beautiful little bull shark has taken it. So we're gonna get the hook out and release it. Okay, how are we gonna get him in? He's hooked in the corner of the mouth, which is perfect. I say let's chuck this in here. And we'll move over to the bank. The size bait that I was using, I did not expect to catch a shark that big in here. Gotta be careful of my legs. Beautiful young bull shark. So we've been hunting around all morning, trying to catch something to eat. Mate, there's just so many sharks in here. And take a look at this. Oh, you're right, buddy. A little juvenile bull shark. It's crazy to think that a shark of this size, which would only be under a year old, could one day grow up to be a 3-meter giant living out in the ocean. I think they're incredible creatures. We're gonna get him back in this system. Oh, he's turning around. Hey, buddy. Off he goes. If we catch one more shark, we're gonna stop fishing here, especially when the tide's this high. We might change to a smaller plastic. So we're currently down in the water on the edge of this deeper section. And what we're doing is waiting for the rod to go off again. Hopefully we can catch something that we can cook up. But at the same time, since this is a survival video, I wanna try and catch my dinner with this bow and arrow. So we're waiting for big schools of mullet to swim past and keeping our eyes out for sharks as well. Hey, buddy. Oh, just bumped into my foot. I'm seeing sharks swim past me. There was a shark that swam just over there about a minute ago. Big school of brim just down here. Just missed him. Bull shark down there. Oh, there's a big school of mullet in there. All right, sometimes I don't even realize what I signed up for. This 8-day survival challenge sounded a lot better in my head. It's day 4. We've been kayaking around for the past 2 days here in the mangroves and I'm already so tired. We haven't even completed half of the challenge yet. Didn't think it was gonna be easy. At least we've caught some food so far. It's always a lot more difficult when you're not eating anything. Oh, no way. What is that? He's run all the way up here. I cast out up that way. We're about to see him actually in the water with whatever it is right now. Oh no. Got off. Wow, that could have been something really big. I'm trying to do this quick because I just saw about a meter long bull shark swim past here a minute ago. There we go. It actually jumped out of the water when I first hooked it, which I haven't really seen sharks do that before. But there'd be barramundi up here, mangrove jack, whatever it was big. Chuck this mullet on and see if we can hook it again. Big mullet, just over there, 3 of them. Oh! I think I just missed him. Keep hunting. Crazy thing is I literally saw a shark in this pool about 5 minutes ago. I know that there's one in here. Luckily it was only about that big. Still take a nice little chunk out of you. But it's been so hot out here over the past few days. Nice to cool off in a pool a little bit further upstream away from the bigger sharks. Definitely feel more drained tonight. Really cool day. It's so cool seeing all of these sharks up close. I was psyching myself up for a big kayak through this creek tonight, but I'm just too tired. And tomorrow we're heading to what could be the harshest environment that we survive in. It's probably the last place that I would want to be stranded in this country. While I was camping here last night, there was something that was crashing through these bushes not too far away from camp. And that actually scared me more than any shark that we saw today or shark that we didn't see. I reckon in this creek, the biggest shark that I've seen was 1.5 meters, but I think there'd be sharks that are over 2 meters living in here. One of that size could definitely bump the kayak and take your arm or leg off for sure. But yeah, whatever that big creature that was running through the bushes around here last night, I hope it doesn't come back to camp tonight. Trying to get a really good night's sleep. Final night out here in the shark pools and night number 4 out here in the wilderness. We still have 2 more locations to go. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the 3rd location soon, I think things are gonna get pretty wild. In part 2 of this challenge, I attempt to survive 4 more nights in the remaining 2 environments, and let's just say things get a lot more difficult from here on out. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see part 2 of this series. Thank you so much for watching these videos and supporting me. We'll see you next week in the next adventure.